So the TED Talk for this week's assignment was by Brené Brown, and it was about the power of vulnerability. I really enjoyed watching this TED Talk. Speaker touched on several different areas that people don't usually talk about. Before, Brené talked about shame as something that helped her discover connection in this completely new way. I would never think that shame would be the reason for that. I expected it to be something positive like family, friends, but shame would be the last thing I would expect. Then I thought about this for a little, and I feel like we're trained to avoid shame. A lot of times, when something that we think we should be ashamed of happens, we try to forget about it like a nightmare. However, Brené said that beautiful things can happen from shame and ugly things too. Honestly, I couldn't agree more with that. We could move on with our imperfection as humans or get stuck in this never ending circle of punishing ourselves for who we are. It is up to us to choose which route we want to take. So, the question for this prompt was to connect the TED Talk with legislation on the federal and state levels. Um, Honestly, I wasn't really able to connect those two together. The speaker didn't talk a whole lot about politics. She did mention in the second half of her speech about how nowadays we make everything that's uncertain certain. She also mentioned the concept of how you're either right or wrong. I think that this could tie back to that now there's a lot more right and left wing people in politics and a lot less moderate who can sway from one side to the other. I think that the idea of how you're either right or wrong strongly relates to this. Burnett did mention that in politics nowadays, there is no conversation but only blame, which could explain the fact that you're either right or wrong. You're either on one side or the other. So if you have certain beliefs about politics, you're always right and you can't be wrong, and others are just the reason why something doesn't work. This is really the only thing that I could tie it back to because I didn't catch any more connections between those two topics, but that's about it. Thank you for listening.